It is Ultraviolet in, not Goliath. So they are going to be working with a slightly different backline here as well. J-Karu on that main tank.
And that's how we're going to pronounce it, J-Karu.
J-Karu.
There's a little bit of discussion between us and production going, we don't know how to pronounce it.
It's J-Karu now.
J-Karu. We've decided. It has been spoken. And now both teams are going to get into it. Triumph immediately hanging out the gate. Same with Montreal.
See now both teams just getting the poke, looking for the wall, because right now Specs is on the Mei, isolating Sabito quite early there. That's the early pickoff. That's the first fight. And now Montreal, they can keep fighting or move this point. Looks like they want to keep fighting. They want to hold the high ground.
Montreal just heading on in, and what a tough start for Triumph when your top streamer just immediately gets taken down by the wall early on. Montreal fight for first point. Triumph, though, still in it. Samito come back to the fight. Still winnable here for Triumph. This wall not going to be as good, and there's an opportunity now for them to dive into the team with Mei. J-Karu in danger, taken on down.
Huge shadow for Decon, also already taking down J-Karu, putting Naga on the ground. Naga's going to live, pop the rally, but once again, Specs still not just finding the isolation, not finding the walls he needs so far. The trance is traded. This is still a much better fight for Triumph, because if Lynx can get this grab before Logix, this should be a fight when it's a free grab. There's no diva on the field for Montreal.
Lynx has built the Graviton, looking for man on the off-hand side. Specs, a little bit of danger, going to be taken on down, and they don't even have to use a Graviton. Triumph getting first control.
And outside of that early wall catching Sabito, Montreal did not find any more value from their Mei. Decon was able to get that shatter so fast. That also was a huge presence. Because also remember, Triumph, they had much better shield presence on J-Karu because they have a diva, and Montreal does not.
Yeah, I mean, Specs was 1 for 3 on walls. It was not the best start, and this is a hard area to get good walls. Graviton going to be coming in from Lynx this time around, and they use it immediately to take down Specs. The barrier does not come into time to save him. Decon drops the hammer, J-Karu to the ground.
And J-Karu was just looking, swinging, just trying to get any frags, but was not watching for the shadow there at all. It's Chopped, gets 3. It's just cleanup kills. Chopped, he's not 1v3ing them, but it is nice to see the Lucio get 3 kills there, pop up in the kill feed. Triumph continuing to hold on to the chokes. They're denying the entry from Montreal. Now for Montreal, this is their fight where they need to break in. They need to hit the flip.
Well, this is where they need a good Blizzard, but who better to shut down a Blizzard than someone with Icy in their name? This is going to be where Specs has to be careful with placement.
Specs has to be careful, but again, they can easily set this up here as well with Logix's grab. There's the grab. The beat is out.
Same for the wall, and the Blizzard going to connect directly to the middle. Decon feeling awfully chilly. Taking on down J-Karu right there. And as you say, this should be Montreal's fight. They're going to flip it back, but still a good start for Triumph.
I mean, Awkward commits trance in this fight here as well. A little bit late. They were going to win. I think he was hoping to keep Samito there alive, but just a little bit too late. So no Transcendence for the following fight. Logic's already 40% to another grab. And when we look at this entry for Triumph, sure, they have a lot of point presence, good, but they're going to have to take a couple of entries here if they're unlucky, or even if they are lucky, because Montreal has Mei, has the overall ult advantage.
And this is why you play Mei on this point, is that you accept the fact that your neutral fights in the beginning are going to be weaker, because if you do get control, the wall is just so incredibly good at splitting teams. They try and come through, but the wall is, well, it knocks away one. It's not the perfect split. They're going to be walking to a grab instead. They have to transcend to stay in it. Triumph with a good opening. They take down 1, and now they're moving forward. 6 on 5. They get the isolation they need, and they get through the wall.
And Montreal just not having a counter grab there to peel. They were getting any value from the shatter, and even with the transfer Ultraviolet, Triumph doing a great job of just isolating targets, focusing down targets, because you can burn down targets still with the right abilities, with the right focus through the trance. And now Montreal, they are the one that have to re-enter, and Smex goes on to Diva. No more Mei.
This is a smart swap from Smex. I think it's a little bit late given how things have turned out, but now going to the Diva makes way more sense than staying on the Mei. They can have a little bit more power on the entry and move on forward.
A lot of pressure here. Gonna be able to Ultraviolet. Getting that sniper to Awkward is huge. It's a free grab potentially for Logix, but if I'm Montreal, I don't want to invest anything. I want to save this grab. I want to win slowly using the Discord, using the heals from Ultraviolet.
They're in overtime. Ultraviolet gets 1 more. Heavy damage coming in from the Zen in the back. And Montreal, the early pickoff, so important to their ultimate economy, because not only are they going to flip the point, but as you say, Logix gets to save the grab.
Gets to save the grab. They get to get the flip. They're in a much better position than if they would have had to use the grab to win the fight. Ultraviolet making a key play there. Just we see it a lot now during the 3-3 matchups in particular, but winning Zen duels is even more important now than I think it was ever.
It's very important, and it's why Flex support has been one of the more evolved roles along with main support. It's been a good year for supports here in Overwatch, but Icy eats the grab! The Graviton smothered! Logix, it's like he never had it at all! Triumph, they boost on in, the sneaky opening from Icy, working out well, and Triumph. One fight away from taking the round.
They'd have to commit the bomb, and Icy just seen that drove that window rotation. Smex was fighting. That was the most impressive part of it, is that he was low and goes through the window rotation, and there's really Icy Logic doesn't see Icy at all.
Triumph in a very good spot here. Well loaded on ults, but so is Montreal. All comes down to this final fight. Shatter going to be used early by Decod, not getting what he wants. Smex's bomb to the back, breaks the shield. Ultraviolet using the Transcendent. Shatter this time in from Jkaru. Decod on the floor, gets right back on up. Both teams burning through the stock of ults, but it's going to be first of all, Logic's out of the fight. Decod following through, and Triumph on the way to getting first round.
I mean, they definitely do have first round as soon as Logic goes down. When the ults are gone, as long as Link stays alive, it's almost impossible for Montreal to win, because a fully charged Zarya with those bubbles makes it almost impossible for Montreal to get any frags.
And I gotta say, that would have been a very different final fight if not for Icy being sneaky, coming through the window.
Icy making a huge play there. And really the craziest part was not just that he was sneaky and came through the window, but somehow, even while that fight was happening with Smex, that Logix doesn't identify it, or that the rest of his team doesn't identify for Logix that Icy's behind them. So there might have been a little bit of a breakdown in the communication there, but Icy making a great play.
Yeah, I mean, just came from behind and gobbled up the grab, and I'm sure that was so unexpected that Logix just had to look at the situation and went, wait, what? Where was the Diva?
He probably didn't even expect Icy to even be capable of eating the grab since they had just been fighting Smex. He probably thought the Matrix was down.
So, Montreal starting out a little bit rough, but Triumph looking good so far in their Contenders debut.
First round for Triumph now rolling out here. Second round of Busan, both teams taking this mid fight. Is going to be 3-3 versus 3-3. No Mei for Smex this time. Just a good old 3-3 versus 3-3.
Now moving forward, Zarya bubble already used. Triumph being back up a little bit. Montreal noticing the advantage, but they also eat a lot of poke damage as they try and take advantage. Jkaru back on up, Discord Orb, make him take a little bit more damage than he would like. Going back and forth, Link's now getting poked down. Montreal doing better in the poke war, and now they're starting to move forward.
Montreal doing so much better in the poke war. Part of it is because Logix, he's taking these off angles so aggressively. He's been pushing these flanks, and now there's no cooldowns for Triumph. They've been pushed into the corner away from mid overall. Icy, he's going to be DMEC.
DMEC is out here, and now things get real grim for Triumph. They're down a Diva, essentially, and they decide to transcend. It's an early transcend for Triumph. They think they can win it. And Icy getting real close to getting Mech back. Icy gets Mech back in. Still winnable. Logix, though. Drop the grab on the other side. Pressure coming on in. They have to bear in the shatter. The response, knock on the ground. Gets pinned back the other way. Naga, though, still alive. Kept supported by the rest of his team. Triumph getting pushed back, even as they're so close to taking the point.
They see the pressure still out. Smex's going to give his life for that shield presence, but this is Montreal slowly but surely still winning.
Graviton
Can they clean up the grab, though? I don't think they can. I don't think they can clean this up, and I think this is it. It's over. That's first fight. This is all one mid fight, by the way, ZP.
It's one big fight, and no one has control here yet, but Montreal, they get the cleanup they needed, but that was scary at the end. The Graviton in from Lynx with the Fire Strike. There was a moment where Montreal all got incredibly low.
Really, the pivotal point for that fight was Tensa's beat. Tensa's beat was huge. It was small because it's tough to see. It's tough to see sometimes those Lucio moments. But after that shatter from Decod, he heads the charge. He was going to get the pin kill, but Tensa hits a perfectly timed beat to keep Montreal alive, to keep them up through that shatter. And slowly but surely, Montreal won after that.
Montreal in first control, 23% to 0. Early shot from Decod gets absolutely nothing. At least a little bit of shield. 40 damage to shield, as Astro would say. But now, Montreal just trying to win back on the poke war. They use the rally in Triumph. You gotta respect it. They don't have a rally of their own. And Montreal gets a lot of space. Space enough for Logix to build up a grab.
Logix has grab far before Lynx right now, even though Awkward does have that Transcendence. But for Montreal, they can look to set up a combo, look to set up the pin out of the grab, and there's the grab right there.
Time can be invested. Answered by the Transcendence. X laying in the bomb a little bit late. Where's it going to go? Right over the back. Does not quite get what he wants, but there's the hammer. Decod onto the ground. Jkaru tries to look for the pin, doesn't quite get it. And again, a very even back and forth fight where Ultimate invested, but so far, both teams still in it. Jkaru down, and Triumph off the grab of their own, looking a bit better.
Triumph going to win this fight, but at what cost? They just used Shatter, just used Grab, just used Rally. They had to trade 3 ults for a beat. There's so much time bank here for Montreal. Now Triumph, with the flip, they need to be perfect moving forward. They need to have pretty much the ability to win these next neutral fights and only use 1 ult at a time. They need to equalize the ults and the time bank here because Montreal are playing the clock.
Well, I think part of that is that Awkward, in an ideal situation, needs to not use Transcend. They open up the self-destruct, and the self-destruct gets Ultraviolet, a very good engage by Icy.
And that was the right way to engage with the Demon Bomb there. Icy throwing it in, and most importantly was Triumph following up. They were all there. They were in the faces of Montreal, setting up the pin, setting up those bashes they needed to remove barriers, which is exactly what they did.
Very good start here from Triumph. Now they got to save the Transcendence. It's going to be up for Logix when he gets Graviton. And that's a fight they needed. They still need another good ult fight, but that's the first step.
Montreal going to be re-entering here. We'll have Bomb, we'll have Rally. Osamido coming up on the rally of his own. Triumph, their goal here is they really don't want to have to invest Trance in this fight. They would rather just be able to trade the rallies and build up a grab.
Triumph right now holding back. They have no reason to force a fight. In fact, getting good poke on the Jkaru, forcing Montreal back. The rally can be used by Montreal. Now they're moving forward. Samido gets the rally a little bit later. Advantage Triumph here. They invest the Graviton. Going to be forcing out the Transcend from Ultraviolet. Smacks his bomb. Catches chopped. And advantage here in the Montreal. Shatter going to be used by Decod. Does not get what he's looking for. It's been a rough time for the Hammer of Decod here. Now Transcend's used for Triumph. Triumph get on the brink. They find one. Logix can invest the Transcendent or Graviton a little bit later. And they end up with 3. Transcendence fading, and Montreal taking the advantage in the fight.
Montreal taking the fight. A good ult fight overall still for Triumph in terms of the time they build off, but now, really, when I look at that fight, Specs' bomb was huge. Not only for that early pick, but Logic was isolated. He was caught around the other side of the drum with that early grab from Lynx, and the bomb peels from entirely. Allows him to get out, allows him to set up the grab later. And this is last fight territory. Triumph, they need to enter. They only have the beat. They'll probably get the bomb on their own as well, but they are coming up against so many support ults from Montreal.
They need something crazy to go well for them here. They have to use the beat early. It's the only thing they have. But the beat answered here by Montreal, and the Shatter knocks down 2, already down to tank. Icy lucky to get out of there. 6 on 5 from Montreal. Big advantage. Good coming in from Chop. Triumph just really trying to fight back. Here comes Icy's bomb. Needs to be big if they're going to swing it back the other way. Doesn't get anything. Montreal continuing to pick them apart on the ground. That's going to be Montreal bringing this fight back. We'll go to a round 3.
We'll go to the round 3. And even with that initiation beat, the problem was Decod was swinging and wasn't minding Jkaru's Shatter. And so because of Jkaru's Shatter, it keeps him on the ground, gets that early pickoff, and then Montreal can just win playing their own barrier, playing that natural focus around their own Rhine. So going to the third map, it's been pretty even between the two.
Now we head to a final decisive round 3. Bear in mind, this is the stage of Busan where the team is feeling adventurous enough. You can go to a more DPS-heavy composition, but neither of these teams, I think, is really in that wheelhouse. It looks more like it's going to be 3-3 versus 3-3.
Yeah, we saw some craziness in our previous game between Tea Party, between XL2. Both these squads seeming like they're much more comfortable with the 3-3 overall. Only a slight variation with Smex on that Mei earlier on with Busan. So very important when we watch this initial fight. We got to see these Zarya bubbles. We got to see who the Discord focus is going to be looking for.
Well, already Logic seeing a boatload of poke damage. Same with his counterpart in Lynx. Both Zaryas getting beaten up a little bit in the early exchange. Both teams string it back and forth. Now we look at Ultraviolet. Some charge ups on the other side. And right now it's just looking for that key advantage. Getting a key bubble out from the other side. And the time to go in. Samido though, already once getting isolated, just barely able to get out. Requires the Harmony Orb from Awkward to get back into it. Meanwhile, look at Decod, he's not getting support he wants. Heavy damage going on to him, but Ultraviolet gets poked on the other side. Shatter in from Decod, drops it. Knocks down Logix, and Mr. Logix is down.
Mr. Logix is down, but can the refight be much better for Montreal? Because the rally's out, they're trading ults. I think as long as Lynx lives here, this should still be better for Triumph. They just need to keep Lynx up. They need to sustain through this Transcendence, because now Triumph are on point. They have grab, there's no Trance.
They use the Graviton, as you say. Transcendence not going to be through that door, but they do have a beat, and that's enough. Montreal able to withstand with the power of music. Triumph, though, dropping a beat of their own a little bit later. Bigger edge to Triumph as they're able to get first control, even as the first fight is still ongoing. Logix about to get his second grab.
This first fight is definitely still ongoing. Both teams have traded out, but Logix now has the grab in his own. Awkward needs to get this Transcendence if Triumph want to live.
Graviton is in, and all of Triumph end up getting demolished directly in the middle. Montreal, they might have lost first control, but they do win the first fight.
And they do win the first overall fight, and we've talked about this previously, but we think it's a lot better, both of us, and I think in general the consensus is it's better to win the first fight than it is to get the first flip, unless it's like an inordinate amount of time. Simply because your ult economy, your positioning is going to be a lot better. Already, Montreal just winning that first fight has now put them in a position where they pretty much equalize the time bank.
Logix getting some pretty good build here as well. Decod moving forward. Shatter built up mid-fight. Self-destructs from Icy. He forces some rotations on Montreal. Montreal in a little bit of space. Decod has been kind of maverick here with the Shatters, willing to throw them out at a moment's notice. Hitting a lot of shields, but this might be the time.
Decod has the Shatter. Awkward the Trance. He's looking for it. Just trying to get now his team onto the point. And for them, they're looking to remove barrier. They're looking, the bubble's out. Can they get a boop? Can they get a bash?
Specs with the bomb directly in, shielded on out. Decod moving forward. Transcendence is forced. Shatter comes in, and again, Montreal totally fine. The Shatter hits nothing. Graviton, though, from Logic's going to be hitting a lot more. Pulls all of Triumph together. They get Samito out of it. And now they're just going to isolate Decod. That's Montreal's fight.
Montreal's fight, and Triumph invested a decent amount there. They had the rally, Shatter, the Trance. A lot invested there for Triumph. Montreal continue to hold on to the point. Will have triple support ult and a Shatter of their own. So when you look for Triumph's win condition in this next fight, because the time is ticking down, their ult economy a little bit worse, for them, they need to make sure to not get caught by these triple support ults. Really the only way they're going to survive is that Lynx's grab needs to peel for them. Lynx's grab, if possible, would like to come out a little bit later as well.
Montreal being aggressive as they know they can be. Rally in, Graviton, or to use from Triumph. I mean, it gets the Transcendence out, so it's not a waste, but what is the win condition going to be? Shatter coming in from Jaykaru, puts Samito onto the ground. Barrier, though, used by Chop, keeps him up, and Samito punishing Jaykaru on the other side. 6 on 5 for Triumph. 93%, they need to move the sword to the point.
Well, this is well played from Triumph right now. They just need to get the point, make sure they don't lose too many people, especially if they catch. Yeah, they do catch Logics. This is going to be the flip. Well played from Triumph there. Lynx using that grab to talk, doing what I said. They need to mitigate those support ults. They catch Naga. They also catch Ultraviolet, forcing the Transcendence. So the rally and the Trance used early with that grab, which was fine for Triumph because they could just beat late.
So Triumph, they have a pretty big mountain to climb here. They want to win their first map in Contenders. Montreal working at a big advantage overall in the course of the map, but right now for this next fight, this should be Triumph's.
See Montreal going to be coming, actually looking like they might be splitting here. Some going from alley, some going from high ground, now entering the point. Lynx already close to another grab. So when you look at the ult economy, Montreal, they're going to have to potentially just take some eco fights.
This is a little bit dangerous for Montreal. They're taking a long time. Whoa, that is a very early Transcendence coming out from Triumph. Logic's now with the grab of his own. The bomb catching out Lucio. In Montreal, now with the real opportunity, 6 on 5 moving forward. Transcendence, I think that usage could really haunt Triumph. They're not going to have it for the rest of the fight. Montreal pushing the advantage. They get caught in the grab, though, on the other side. Transcendence from Ultraviolet a little bit late. So Montreal a bit wounded there. Decod takes down another. And Triumph fighting this evenly, but it might not be enough. Ultraviolet on the top picks off one. And Ultraviolet, someone needs to be dealt with here.
He needs to be dealt with because he's sitting playing these off angles. Logic's just doing so much though right now. As long as Logic's has lived, this is just a fight win for Montreal because there's no damage, no bubbles for Triumph. Decod, he's isolated on the edge. We're in last fight territory, and I think it's done. This is first map for Montreal.
The sumo push Decod right to the end, and it's gonna be Montreal. They recover. They take the final round. They take the first map, and Triumph starting out Contenders with a map loss, but it was close.
It was close. It was definitely close. Remember, 2 new squads here. Montreal, this is really not the same squad at all that we saw last season. Triumph recently moving up from Trials. So there's still plenty of maps left to go in this series. And when I really look at the differences between the two is that Decod is just throwing Shatters left. You say he's playing the numbers game.
Yeah.
He really is playing the numbers game. Is that eventually sometimes if you just look for the opening, you will get the Shatter you want. Decod has been finding that value. I think Lynx has been doing an excellent job keeping up with Logics. Really, it's the macro game. It's finding a lot more better value in those neutral fights, in those ult fights in particular, after the neutral. They're really just not transitioning their ults properly.
Well, I think the other thing, too, is that Decod might be reading Jaykaru to be more aggressive than he really is, where he's trying to land Shatters in moments where Orion would be going for a Fire Strike or looking for a swing. And Jaykaru is more than willing to just keep holding up his shield all the while. So I just don't think it's been ideal for Decod, where you have to give Jaykaru a little bit more respect. Hold your Shatter, is what I have to say.
And sometimes you just need to hold your Shatter. And Ultraviolet, I think, has been a standout. I mean, regardless of that snipe onto Awkward on that earlier points of Busan, he is also getting consistent value with his trances. He's doing great damage, been keeping the focus fire where you need it to be, but still very close.
Very good. And, Logic's, even though there was that one grab eat from Icy, I don't really hold that against Logic's. I think it was a great play from Icy, but yeah. Logic's has looked better here as well for Montreal, where I would argue that there was kind of a slump for Logic's in the middle of the last season for Montreal, where he wasn't in his comfort zone, but so far today, most of his gravitons have been good. He's been building reliably, and he's looking more like the Logic's of old.
We're going to get into our second map of the series pretty soon. It is currently 1-0 for Montreal, above Triumph. Still plenty of room for Triumph to bring it back, especially what was a close showing on Busan. And when I was so far, this initial impression for Triumph just in the Contenders run, because remember, I keep it very distinct. Sure, we have plenty of data from Triumph in Trials, but those are against Trials teams, ZP. These aren't Contenders teams. They're not the same level, and you shouldn't treat them necessarily the same level. These are two very different levels of play.
You just morphed in the hexagrams. I just got the hexagrams OWL, the Contenders.
Well, no. We're not going to call. Don't compare me to Hex, because Hex. The question for Hex is, oh, well, Korea Contenders not that. Essentially, don't treat it the same as Overwatch League. While I'm saying NA Trials is not the same as NA Contenders.
I'm just saying. I saw it for a moment. I saw the glint of Robert Kirkbride staring at me, and let me tell you, I'm a man that knows Robert Kirkbride.
We're very different arguments. Very different arguments there between the two of us. But you can be, since the Triumph did have a pretty consistent performance in Trials, you can say that you would expect them to hopefully do pretty well in Contenders, at least in the middle.
And I mean, in fairness to Triumph, I do think they're looking like a Contenders level team right now. This is certainly above the usual norm for Open Division, and rightly so. They got through Open Division. They made it in the Contenders, and even though the first map doesn't go their way, it's not like they got blown out. It was about as close as you could expect.
There's going to be Anubis, our Assault map, second map of the series. Triumph going to be looking to equalize here. I don't know if we're going to see any crazy strats. So far, both teams been pretty happy, been pretty content to just run the 3-3. They feel very comfortable on it, looks like. Haven't been looking to make anything too crazy. You utilize bunker, any 2-2-2, triple DPS, anything like that.
I mean, it is just kind of the style that teams have, right? Where some teams are more willing to go forward and go, we're going to run more DPS, we're going to run more Sombra 3-2-1. And then right now in this meta, you have the teams that go, yeah, that's all cool and all, but 3-3.
3-3. It is just what some teams identify with, what they feel is best for them. And Triumph, Montreal both could be one of those teams. I also think that Montreal lost a bit of their flexibility when they lost Gods, when they lost Sharik, because especially Gods, incredibly flexible player.
Well, Gods has had to play just about everything. I mean, we're just waiting for Gods to begin his flex support and main support careers, and then he will have truly done everything in Overwatch over the course of his career.
Triumph now going to be on this offense. They are running out on the 3-3. Pretty standard. Montreal also as well. Be taking the flank likely, moving up here onto the high ground to set up this first engage.
Triumph not wasting a whole lot of time and rotating over and into the left. Montreal waiting to meet them as we move forward. And this is a tough area to move in the 3-3 mirror. It's just, you're getting flanked from literally every direction.
For Triumph right now, they just need to watch these bubbles. They need to watch the cooldowns. They don't want to use them too early. They need to be setting up the engage. IC coming from the window, looking for the boop, actually. Trying to catch Jcaro, but right now Jcaro living. The damage so high, though, for Montreal.
Both runs up getting traded out on Montreal, trying to win the overall poke war. It's still a choke point that Triumph would have to get through now. Minus Orion, where, okay, Montreal doesn't have a Reinhardt, but this is still a dangerous choke to try and get through.
Remember, Triumph also has the close response. Decod's going to be back much faster than Jcaro is. They can look forward to it. They can actually, even if they want to have just Decod flank through main, take the fight to the point.
So they're going to use Rally to get through, answered by Rally in turn. Slightly quicker Transcendence build here from Ultraviolet, but it's not going to matter too much in the end. And as you say, Decod, back to fight earlier. Montreal, they have to be more defensive. And oh no! They get onto Jcaro, they recognize it coming back from spawn, and that is a big advantage now to Triumph. An excellent shot call.
Logic's now dropping the grab, forcing the Transcendence. So no trance, but no value from the grab. They did not find any picks that they needed. And this is going to be a counter grab now from Ultraviolet before Lynx is even grabbed.
That was just so smart from Triumph, where they go, wait, we don't have to worry about the main Montreal squad. Just turn and get Jcaro back from spawn. Very
good read.
It just makes the rest of the fight easy for them, and now they can snowball into point B.
I mean, Lynx has saved his grab the entire time. They catch Logix as well, so Logix will not have that early energy moving into last. Triumph, they're already here. They've left the people behind the cap. They're all going to be close. They're going to be holding up on the choke, ready to enter. So they can't even, Montreal won't even be set up to even deny these entries because of Triumph being so aggressive and getting these early stagger kills. This is very good for Triumph. Montreal, for them, they need Specs. Yeah,
he has to be hungry. He needs to be hungry.
He needs to be hungry, and he needs to have a great defensive bomb. The bomb is going to be very important here as well.
This is all the point where D.Va must be your playmaker. And Specs, one of the better ones in Contenders, but no, not going to get the crowd beat. Was a little bit far away, drops the bomb in the middle of it, trying to make a little bit of space. The beat keeping Triumph alive. But Montreal, there's a chance now. They might have done enough. The shadow comes in from Decod, knocks Jcaro to the ground. They're looking for the fall through. Jcaro and Specs again, awfully low. Triumph chasing on that, and Jikaru's down! They're able to finish him off. They finish what Decod starts. 3, making 4 unanswered takedowns. And that's going to be Triumph. Moving on in, likely now to get the point of look at Smax just casually hiding in the back.
Casually hiding, though, is going to team back. There's no bomb available. Montreal are coming back in. They do have Naga onto the Hammond. Actually, huge boot from Naga. Naga doing so much there by making them fall down, forcing the Transcendence because of it. Then the Shatter has to come in. Can they get any more from this, though?
I don't think it's enough, but I do like some of the options man from Montreal. He's to entertain the hope of bringing it back. Decod can get taken on a ride. Shatter's ready. 165 HP. Don't want one down. Decod dropping another Shatter. Hits Naga, and that's going to be enough. Triumph doing really well here. 2 ticks to them already. In Montreal, they're just playing for stall.
Just playing for stall, but you see Logic's actually entry, dropping the grab here. The counter grab for Lynx. Ultraviolet catches one. It's just stagger for Montreal, though. With the beat coming out, there's no ults really available for Montreal left. They don't have the players. It's just Triumph cleaning up.
May coming back in. Hammond in rotation. Keeps getting knocked away.
Like a pinata.
Yeah. The hamster inside, not candy.
Not candy. A lot less fun for Hammond himself.
Honestly, something that PETA could really take offense to.
Now we're going to move in here to the defense for Triumph. And that was a great offense. That was a great snowball. The fact that they held on to the grab was so important for Triumph. And that early isolation, like you talked about, that early isolation onto Jikaru when he's coming back from spawn. Triumph clearly smart and clearly capable of recognizing when they could see an opening when to isolate targets, which is what 3-3 is excellent at.
And you think back to your point earlier where, I mean, it's a very basic point for Assault, but it's incredibly relevant, and it's what set up that play, is that in the Reinhardt trade early on, you can trade Reinhardts, but guess what? Decod's going to be back with this team a lot sooner, and the long walk back for Jikaru just meant that Triumph could split Jikaru away from the path to get back with the rest of Montreal.
There's going to be Montreal on the offense, looking to equalize, and that was not the fastest time we've ever seen on Anubis, but an overall very good time. And so Montreal have to feel a little bit of pressure. They're really trying to keep it relatively equal because you never want to be that far behind the time bank. It's just extra opportunities for the opponent.
Gate's going to be opening up here soon, and we'll see what the Triumph defense has in store. And again, it is worth noting in the change-ups here is that, well, again, this is something where, actually, as I say, you might not be seeing as much in change-ups. I don't think Ultraviolet is really coming on Ashe. That would be weird for your flex support to be going to Ashe. And yeah, the dream is dead.
No, there is not going to be Ashe on the field. Montreal rolling out here on the 3-3 versus the Triumph 3-3 with Decod on the Winston. So with Triumph, their goal is they need to keep Decod alive. He doesn't want to overcommit, but he wants to get the Tase damage on the rotations, on the entries for Montreal, get that primal very quickly.
Triumph, holding back here. Montreal will see what approach they said taken. Instead of going to the left, they're going to be going to the right. Decod looking to get good build, and that is crazy good build as a Winston, 66%.
I mean, he just needs to have one more fight, one more good engage, and he pretty much has primal.
That is one of the quickest Winston builds I have ever seen for the first round of tasing.
I really like this rotation for Montreal. They actually come back off the high ground onto the bridge. There's the primal for Decod. Can he isolate someone? Because that's the key, but he's getting pinned. He's dead!
He's down! 1,000 HP, doesn't matter. Taken on down. Montreal, they just deal with it. So what is a great start is a terrible finish. Montreal, very good opening here, but now they need to rotate to the point. They have yet to start on it.
They are going to be rotated to the point right now. The rally is also out for Naga, but just making sure that Logix is going to be, because right now, Logix is the playmaker for Montreal. Even with Link still alive, Logix can melt anyone that comes to the point, especially with that rally armor.
I have to say, this is real dangerous. I mean, Decod walks back in, but that was going to be the result. He's just an ult battery for Logix and co. for Montreal.
Lynx could be making a huge mistake right now. He needs to die or get out. There we go. Now he's going to go in. He's going to go fall down, but he couldn't wait much longer, or else the snowball is still very real.
Well, the problem is that you want your Zarya to live, if possible, to retreat to save energy. That's not going to be the case here. He's barely going to be back in spawn.
Yeah, going to be coming up. No energy in sight. Samito also not having a rally. So Montreal looking to move forward here. It is equalized on the grabs, though, so not the worst in the world for Triumph, especially with the trans coming up. It's really how they set up these grab engages. Where do the bombs find value?
Also, I mean, thankfully for Triumph, Montreal took the slower route. They didn't run it down mid, which actually could have been the better move here, potentially. Logix, Graviton is ready. Now you look towards the Divas. Who's going to look for the eat? Will it just be grab? The grab's eaten! Icy! Smothering Logix. Gets the play the Triumph needed. Bomb to the back. Takes down the Zarya. And Icy just asserting dominance over Logix in that fight. In all ways.
Well, you know, I saw the eat for the Diva Matrix, that bug. Was that the grab eat, though? I didn't actually see it. I thought it might have come out. I didn't even see the icon for the grab eat. I saw the icon for the bug, but it doesn't matter because either way, regardless if the grab was eaten or not, Icy, his bomb placement, Triumph's overall fight was much better. They had the better shield presence. They had the better position. You see the stagger, a brutal stagger on the Smex. He's actually going to get demeched and then demeched again. Remeched and demeched again. Bye-bye, Smex.
And now they just leave him. They go, all right, we've done our job. And Smex gets a Harmony Orb. Says, fight me! Take me down, you cowards!
Well, he's down now, but that's a great stagger for Triumph. And with that one stagger kill down, they can actually push forward. Montreal, they're holding so far forward to try to get Smex out. Need to back up now.
So Montreal, their speed has been derailed. The snowball demolished. And Triumph looking very good right now on the hold. Almost certainly going to have a quicker time.
See now Montreal getting ready to set back up. They might be taking this right flank, trying to move, take the spawn door, rather than rotate towards the bridge. It looks like that is what they're going to be doing. They do have the triple support ult available. Naga dropping that early. Just be trading with Samido.
Rally going to be used here by Montreal, but they're being pretty sluggish in going forward after it. Of course, Rally used on both sides. Shatter, run up by Decon again, gets nothing.
Much better shatter for J-Caro, but there's no follow-up. The bomb was out, the beat was available. That was a double support ult layer for Triumph. The double support ult layer, ZP.
And this is going to make things a lot easier for Montreal. They know it. They move on forward. Graviton going to be invested. Logic's picking up one. Triumph, though, winning the battle more. Decon under pressure, just holding back, but they can't get through the shield.
Can't get through the shield, and Triumph, they are going to win this in the end. And really huge part is Montreal, they might have been had that double support ult, much more bunny hop support ult, the staggered. But Ultralight goes down in the grab. J-Caro, I don't know if he didn't have shield, if it was completely broken, or if he was trying to preserve it. But while he was swinging and grab, Ultraviolet goes down.
Montreal Rebellion, 3 minutes and 48 seconds left. Still time, still the ability to move forward. Even this next fight might not be too bad. But should they change their approach up at all? They've gone left pretty much every time.
They went right this last time. I don't have a problem with left, especially when you have grab bomb. I actually like left a lot more because the choke becomes more dangerous. Easier to get the corner grab, to isolate, to set up the pin. They're going to be early fight for Triumph. They're going to be backing up, playing far away because they know they have this grab bomb. They need the space. They need to make sure that Montreal cannot get the best engagement possible.
Use a Graviton here early. Bomb going to be layered on in. Smex gets two! In Montreal, 3-1 advantage. The hammer going to be dropped down. Samido taken on out. In Montreal, they were repelled before, but they will not be repelled this time. The bomb coming in, shielded on off between Brigida and Ryan. In Montreal, it's going to be a slower time, but should be decent and workable as we look towards our next set of rounds. Triumph going to try and delay, but so far, unsuccessful.
So far, unsuccessful. Now it's just stagger for Triumph. Now it's just trying to come out onto the point, get the delay as long as possible, and a much better time already for Triumph. As Samido actually able to catch Naga.
Graviton Eden, by the way, also for Smex, just making it very secure. Even if the grab had hit, it likely wasn't going to do a whole lot here, just giving the numerical advantage. J-Caro, though, taking a lot of damage. You can't let your Rhine die for free here. Protect your Rhine. They're going to do just that. Logic's dropping the grab, making sure Stagger from Triumph eventually ends. And it's still a quicker time for Triumph as we look towards round 3.
So good defense there for Triumph. Montreal, though, it wasn't a spectacularly slow offense. It was just a reasonable. It was a very, I would say, average, maybe slightly above average offense for Montreal.
And still, I mean, winnable. Where a 2-minute difference on Assault, it can be tangible. But on the same note, it's very possible to just get a very good long hold and go from there. Now, I guess the one difference I would say is that 225 is holdable on first, if you're looking at Triumph versus Montreal here on the defense, whereas 425 for a first hold on Anubis is a larger ask. So the danger here for Montreal is if they get a tough opening and then they don't get point A at all, because then it's just likely going to be Triumph's map.
Triumph going to be on this defense. Running the Winston here again. Decod, he had great success getting the Primal early. We gave him that much. He was getting the damage, getting the entry damage, in particular on those rotations. But he has to make sure not to commit in a position where he's just going to get insta-burned as a 1,000 HP ult battery. Which is sort of what happened there. He overcommitted, got caught in a choke. And the one thing you want to be as Primal Winston is you don't want to be in an area where teams can punish you. You want to be in an area where you can be mobile and able to get that disruption.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to be stuck as a hero that's supposed to be mobile, and then you get pinned into a corner and just burst it on down. I mean, it was just a mugging, and Decod was the victim. But the rest of the play from Decod to start things on the defense was quite good. He had a very quick Primal build, so do it again and just be careful with your Primal.
See Montreal now getting ready to enter. Samido also playing Ana, by the way. There is no Brigitte. It has a good anti-nade there. Several boops coming out, but not able to catch anyone from Montreal just yet. So no Brigitte for the Zinter means, but they do get the DMAC on the Spec, which is actually crucial while Samido's on Ana. Because when Samido's on Ana and there's no D.Va, that makes his nades, his heals so much better.
He gets the bio-nade kill, of all things. Not just the anti, but the full-on elimination. Logic's out of the fight, and now Montreal is trapped.
Montreal's trapped. They don't have Logic. They're still waiting for Smex to get remeked. And Triumph looking like they're going to want to push them up top.
Triumph is going to casually move on forward. There's the Primal. Decod's built it up. And he's just saying, you know what? Maybe get out of my spawn.
Well, I mean, he wins the fight. The Primal is good. He goes very dangerously though, ZP. Feeds a lot of ult charge, especially to Ultraviolet. But in the end, they win the fight.
So I'm just pushing them out of point A relatively quickly, and that's a good defense there for Triumph. Montreal, they're down to about a minute 12. The 112.
The 112.
For a game that is definitely not the 112.
For a game that's not the 112. And when we're looking at Triumph, they have Nano available. They can give it to Decod here again, build that Primal incredibly quickly. As Montreal, they're going to look to re-enter.
Oh,
the anti-nade.
3! Excellent bio-nade in from Samido, sets the stage, and Montreal once more evicted from the base of operations here for Triumph.
There is no better combo possible there for the entry than getting the Nano onto Decod plus the anti-nade to several members of the backline. Montreal didn't want to commit any ults there because A, Tinta still doesn't have beat, and B, committing to support ult when you're anti-naded is not a great idea.
The backhand to the sleeping Smex. And that's been happening a lot to Smex. A lot of good staggers in from Triumph.
Decod does also have another Primal. This is looking increasingly holdable for Triumph. This is last fight for Montreal. They still don't have beat. They still don't have grab. They don't have very much to deal with in terms of zone. You see the anti come out again, but Decod, he's going to commit. He wants
really
Logic.
Early. He's getting pummeled. He's down to 300 HP, and the rest of Triumph wasn't really in a situation that they could make the most of it.
He just wanted Logic. He literally just wanted Logic because how low he was. See the bomb. You see the Primal come out. They don't get anything.
Montreal still moving forward. They don't get quite what they want to start with, but still threatening, still all 6 up. Shadow going to be coming down here from Jakaru. Triumph, though, they use the beat. Everyone's still absolutely fine. Montreal back into the corner. They have to leave someone on the point, but it's too much. Triumph, they dive on in. They get what they're looking for, courtesy of Samido's bio. And that's going to be a hold here coming out from Triumph.
And Samido and Tinsa died with beat. There was no beat available for Montreal in that fight. And when we look at the difference makers, Samido's Ana. Samido kept on finding value consistently on these Ana. The nades were huge. I really can't put to any more combination other than the nades. And when you're running Ana there as well, it allows Decod to be even more aggressive on those pushes. It allows him to contest even harder, which is exactly what he did.
And now Triumph's first map win here in Contenders, essentially inevitable. It would be ridiculous for Montreal to have the first point hold for 4 minutes and 25 seconds, not giving up 33%. It is possible, but it is exceedingly unlikely.
It's time for perhaps a miracle play for Montreal. Not able to find value there for their offense, but they could for their defense. Look like they're just going to play also a standard 3-3. They don't want to play bunker. They don't want to play anything too crazy, which I think is the right play overall. Because the thing about playing comps outside of the 3-3, especially when you're trying to first hold, is that Triumph has the advantage of just going back to spawn and swapping their heroes. They could play triple DPS. They could play 2-2-2 dive. They have a lot of options.
So Triumph, 4:25 to go. And, I mean, really, it's been a good showing from them on Anubis. I'm willing to say now that after seeing their defense again, I'm willing to say that the point A defense before where Decod got caught out was kind of an aberration. I don't think that would happen to them all that often, and you got to give them credit where credit is due. Now we'll see what Lynx is able to do here on the Widow. Looking for the shot, might be swapping if he doesn't get it, and it is going to be a quick swap.
A quick swap there. Triumph now is moving on to the 3-3 of their own. They have over 4 minutes to take these fights, the eco push. They don't have to win. They only have to win one fight. They just need that one tick. So they can be perfectly fine fighting for really like 3.5 minutes. We're moving ults for Montreal and just building up that 6-ult bank.
Remember, this is how they approached before, where even though this is a harder push to go through...
Expect IC through the window. Yep, IC goes through the window again, but this time they saved the bubble. It's fine.
Decod getting isolated and down. This time not going to get a good pin. And Jakaru lives. There's no trade this time. No chance for an isolation of Jakaru. In Montreal, it's a better defense than what they had before.
Logic's already 71% to grab there as well. Montreal just knowing how Triumph was going to push that too. They made the same approach, the exact same push. They waited, they got set up on the corner, and they waited for Icy to go to the window to try to boot Jkaru or anyone that was close on the doorway. And they just saved Bubble, so it was so really they got nothing out of it. All it is was just no boosters for Icy.
Speaking of Icy now going to have to be sneakier to deal with Logix, who's built up a Graviton. It's a pretty quick grab, certainly a bit quicker than Lynx. Montreal moving forward, looking to just contest early, and already Awkward is down. And Montreal, they get to play this pretty safely. Jkaru taking quite a bit of damage. They're trying to finish him off. They're looking for the boop. Doesn't happen. It's good bubbles coming in from Logix to keep Jkaru in the fight.
Logix, he's not stopping. He's going for the D-back. He does get the D-back late onto Icy. And that was off the Smex boop. You've seen both these teams try to utilize that Diva boop. Smex was hiding up top right here where he was. Just moves down, catches Triumph as they go up the stairs, allowing Awkward to initially get caught.
Now we set the stage that this was very good for Triumph, but they've burned through 2 minutes now. And Montreal's still in a really good spot. The idea of this being a hold that forces a draw is a lot more likely.
Soon to be 6 ults for Montreal if Jkaru gets it here in this fight, depending on where they commit it. Triumph gonna have 5 ults of their own, so it is an equal ult fight, but if Triumph commit and lose, they're in a bad spot.
Triumph moving on forward. They do use Rally Transcendence in response to the grab, but it doesn't save the Brigida. Taken for a ride by Jkaru. 6 on 5. Montreal looking totally healthy right now in this fight, and Triumph, they don't need much in the point, but this is a really tough position to make anything happen when you're down 1 player already.
And a crucial player, that is the Brigida. You don't have the packs, you don't have that frontline presence, you don't have the bash potential. Triumph just backing up, going to relink with Samido. And that's almost another 30, 40 seconds off the clock.
Triumph, I mean, they're essentially down to 2 good attempts. Montreal, they have clawed their way back into this Anubis, and Triumph might not be leaving with a win here after all.
And Icy still doesn't have bomb because of that late DMAC from Logix earlier on. So with no bomb to help break the presence, the combo here, they don't have much.
Graviton used, bomb set back, does not connect. Opportunity now for Triumph. Decod Shatter again, not getting much. And we see Montreal moving on in off the barrier from Tensa. Triumph needing to give it space. They couldn't fight it 1-for-1. Their barrier was a bit later.
But Logix, he has another grab here. What's so importantly is that Icy's only half HP. He's had to use the Matrix early. No
Graviton
Matrix
connects.
for the grab.
There's no Transcendence. Montreal gonna finish it off. And Triumph down.
And Samido rallies. Samido rallies, ZP. No rally either for Triumph. They thought they could commit that fight somehow, but there's no rally now. This is so good for Montreal.
This is scary for Triumph. They had such a good position to take this map, but they have self-immolated here as Montreal has played a much better defense.
So now Montreal coming up onto the double support ults, the rally, the trance, have a shatter of their own. When I look at this fight for Triumph, when I look at the time left, this is last fight, and it's all on the back of Icy and the follow-up for Triumph. Icy needs to make space with bomb. He may need to get a crucial pick if possible.
They're setting up for the Bash Shatter. Naga's in the corner.
Yeah, but Icy's in main. I think he wants the bomb from main. They're going to enter while Icy bombs from main. Here it comes.
Here comes the bomb. Up over the middle. Shielded away. Not quite where they're looking for. Meanwhile, Bash Shatter. They move in. They don't quite get what they want on the defense either. Montreal, and they give up high ground. Transcendence already used. Opportunity now for Triumph. They don't have a Graviton to punish. Move on forward, Icy. Demacked. Smack's moving forward. Jkaru in danger. Jkaru down. 5 on 5. Beat in for Triumph. Here comes the shadow from Decod. And this time connects. Ultraviolet on the ground. The beat. Keeping alive, but not for long. Triumph getting on through. It's in overtime. They've needed every last second here. Graviton in from Logix at the end. But Triumph in a much better position. They finish him on off. Logix getting stomped by the Diva Mech. And Triumph picks up their first map win here in Contenders.
Against all odds, they survive. And really, when I look at that, it's awkward. It actually is awkward. Not only was Icy moved them from the position initially, but Awkward's Transcendence keeping them alive, and then his focus fire, his damage onto the shield presence for Jkaru was so key there, and also just cleaning up frags.
Really good from Triumph towards the end, where you want to remove the ability for people to remember what had happened in the lead up there. Just win the map.
Just win the map.
Yeah.
If you win the map, that's 4 minutes of setup for a map win, and that's exactly what we saw happen the very last possible second. It was looking grim for Triumph for a while, but remember, like we said, they needed one fight win, and they got their fight win.
And I mean, the nice part there, at the very least, for Montreal is that it was a better defense for them. Actually, both teams had much better point A defenses when they got another go at it, which was really a testament to both sides. I thought that both teams played pretty well on the defensive end. Offense is a little bit more sluggish, but it is now 1-1, and it's a very close series.
I mean, I bet Montreal wish they would have had almost a 4.5 minute hold their first defense.
Yeah.
So really having that is just showing that you can improve, but you need to do it right the first time.
Well, guys, it's all even here. 1-1. Who's going to take it? We'll find out after the break.